Oh. Oh. Hi, Leather Rokk here, and this is Tabby Boy. Welcome to my channel. I better put him down before he gets too mad. So, I don't know if I'm gonna make the video I was planning on making. I was originally going to tell you about the second cookout I went to and my adventures wearing my Trump memorabilia, dancing with a bunch of Obama supporters, which really did happen. And if it wasn't for the fact that there was a really good DJ playing some James Brown music, and I'm sorry, my very first 2-record set was a James Brown record. I was like 5 years old, so I've been getting down with the good foot for a long time. And dance floors don't discriminate. Dance floors don't say what color you're supposed to be. Dance floors don't say what political party you're supposed to be in. If you like music, music is one thing that does unite people, no matter what their philosophies are. And so that's what originally this video was going to be about. But that was pretty much the too long, didn't read version of events. What I now I'm going to talk about is if anybody else is a creator making YouTube or other videos or something, and you happen to live in a neighborhood where, let's say, you can't soundproof your studio, and let's say you have people who are being very disruptive. Now, in my case, if you've been watching my videos for any length of time, you know that most of the time I film tends to be in the wee hours, like after 3 o'clock in the morning. And unfortunately, my neighborhood is urban and busy, and there's 24-hour noise, and where during a typical time where most people would be sleeping and otherwise being peaceful, there are people walking out and about, people who don't live here but will hang out right in front. They will do very loud drug deals. There will be prostitutes and pimps negotiating, or pimps and prostitutes and possible customers. And you hear these negotiations, either I hear them out my window or I hear them from my bathroom window. And I can't tell you how many times I've had to ask people to please move it on down the road, or I'll even tell people that there are loud conversations, laughing, drinking, smashing of beer bottles, crushing of beer cans is actually coming off on my audio. But that's apparently too much of a $10 word for these people to understand, so then I have to be explicit and say that I can hear them on my webcam. And then they ask a bunch of questions which are none of their business. And a few times I said that I was trying to make YouTube videos. Then they wanted to know a bunch of details that were really none of their business, or they wanted to know why. First of all, why is not a question to ask somebody. If a person says that they are doing something, that is their business. And the only reason why I give information, I shouldn't have to justify my actions. If I'm telling somebody that I'm having a problem with the fact that it's 3 o'clock in the morning and they're being very loud and disruptive, and they don't even live here, and they're being so noisy that no matter how many fans I may have running, it can't drown out their noise, which shouldn't even be existing because they shouldn't even be here. And people just don't seem to get that what they're doing is disruptive and what they're doing is rude. And I've had to call the cops twice tonight, having people threaten to rip my front door off. People, and I'm talking groups of 5 and 6 people, wanting me to come outside so that we could settle it, as if 6 against 1 would be fair. And I guess they could probably tell that I'm a female, and these are males who would commit acts of violence against me, which I didn't think that was cool. So, oh yeah, and I had this Trump sticker outside and somebody vandalized it, which I suppose I should be grateful that that hasn't been happening more and more. But yeah, this neighborhood is really lacking, and I can't get out anytime soon. But it's really disruptive, and I would like to find another time to film, but this is actually the quietest time to film because at least my roommates are asleep. They're not blasting their televisions. If somebody's blasting their TV in the next room, it comes through even if my door is closed and I have a fan on. And if there's any music, and music usually is in commercials and things, I don't want it to bleed over into my videos. You know, we don't want to get copyright strikes if we get some music from that, or somebody might be blasting their cha-cha Spanish music next door. And these next door neighbors, they have the loudest sound system, a sound system that I can't imagine a person would need to have in a home. And they have, most of their rooms have air conditioners. There's like 20 some people in that apartment. I think half of them are probably illegal aliens. They keep the door open even though there's air conditioning, which means that they're wasting their air conditioning. And they're treating the whole neighborhood to their music that is so ungodly loud. And this is music that if I was shopping at a Mexican market, I wouldn't mind it, because some of it is kind of catchy. But when I can't listen to my own radio, my own television, the volume on my computer does not get very loud at all. And whenever I bought speakers to attach to it, they never worked. It's not fair that there are so many people that honestly do not care about the negative effect they are having on the people around them. The people next door, they have sometimes blasted their music till past 2 o'clock in the morning. And one night we had to call the cops on them 3 times, because the first couple of times the cops came by, they knew somebody there and they were exchanging little words of chit chat. Strange people that I thought only spoke Spanish, they know a few English words. Unfortunately, please turn down your sound because it's too loud and it's drowning out every device my household owns. It doesn't seem to be in their limited vocabulary. I think if you were in my position, you would be pretty pissed off too. I try to cut people some slack and make some excuses for certain behaviors, but when people, through their actions, prove to you that they're totally being antisocial and they honestly don't care about the fact that they're bothering other people. I've had so many people say things to me. I felt that they could totally get violent. At one point, I followed what the police had told us a couple of years ago, and I used a sprayer in the kitchen sink, and I sprayed water out that window at them. And of course, nobody likes it when they're rained on. I did that to a hooker and a pimp that were having a fight underneath the window one time, and like a year later, that woman was still screaming about it. I guess maybe I rained on her weave or something. This neighborhood is crazy. So I was really glad that there was that Trump party on the beach yesterday, which I already made a bit of a video about, but I didn't really focus too much on the fact that it was a Trump beach party. I focused on some aspects of sun care in dealing with the sun when you're an extremely pale person such as myself, because that was quite an adventure. But you know, there are so many people in America that are angry about how our country is changing, and I don't blame them, seeing how this little town that I'm in has gotten worse and worse. The urban aspects of it have gotten so much worse. We have a very serious opioid epidemic throughout our country, and now you've got drug dealers that they are using a code word, tickets. And they are not selling tickets to concerts. Tickets apparently is slang for heroin or the accoutrements used to use heroin. There are people walking around selling the stuff. It's not necessarily the people you might even expect. People are dying. People are dropping like flies. Every couple of days you hear that somebody in this neighborhood got shot. There was a dead body found in the alley next door like a month or 2 ago. Things are really getting pretty hectic, and even the social service agencies nearby can't really do a whole lot to control things. You can't force people to seek treatment, and certainly if somebody's making their living selling this poison, they don't have any impetus to stop what they're doing, because it's probably making them a better living than working minimum wage at some entry-level job. So from an economic standpoint, I can almost understand them taking the chance of doing something, even though I don't for the life of me understand how anybody could live with themselves selling something that is killing people the way this opioid thing is. People don't realize or care that so much of the heroin they're buying is laced with fentanyl, or people who maybe they never thought that they would be a drug user, but they had surgery for something, or they had serious pain and they were prescribed some kind of opiate and they ended up getting hooked. And a lot of it is doctors over prescribing painkillers when there are so many non-drug alternatives that help with at least low-level pain, topicals like topical analgesic creams and different things, rather than put people straight on these drugs. Why anybody would take chances with any opiates, any narcotics, I don't understand. It's totally ruining small towns and inner cities alike, and small towns that have large inner city elements, such as my own, unfortunately. But I'm really impressed that we haven't had another interruption since I started filming this. This is the third time I tried filming tonight. Things are really getting hectic around here, and I'm beyond frustrated with things, but I can't move anytime soon. What I really want to do is go back to California, where my real life is, where my career is, the film and the television, stage dance, and all the other creative things that I love so much, plus the weather is really amazing. But I need to buy that used jitney to move me and my stuff out of there, and that's going to take quite some time, the least of which is actually buying the thing. And then the expense involved in retrofitting, because I want to make it have a used cooking oil engine. I want to take most of the seats out, and I want to kind of convert it into like a little house. But I want to get a litter genie or a litter robot, which, if you don't know what they are, it's a motorized, self-cleaning cat litter box. And unfortunately, they're really expensive. They're like around $499. And of course, I'd have to find some way to run electrical things without running my engine. And I understand that that would probably involve having a generator or something, but that would make sounds, which I don't think would be suitable. Both it would give away the fact that this was not only a parked vehicle, but this was actually somebody's home. And a lot of times you have to be very discreet about that sort of thing, because more and more cities are passing laws against sleeping in vehicles. Even in California, even I believe Oakland, California, they passed a law saying that even if you have an RV, you can't sleep in it on residential streets. So what California is effectively doing is, it's bad enough that there is no affordable housing, but what they're also doing is any alternatives that people are coming up with so that they don't have to pay those unaffordable rents, they're just making it so pretty much people's only choice is squatting and living on the street. And of course, they're saying that they're seeing a resurgence in diseases that we thought were dead 100 years ago. That they say that we may end up with the bubonic plague, typhus, all kinds of diseases that we thought were pretty much eradicated. Now, between the sewage in the streets, the people going to the bathroom in the streets, and then the diseases brought by these illegal aliens. We have all these people in our country that we haven't vetted. We don't know who's here. We have no idea the health status of the people that are here. We don't know who's in a gang. We don't know who's a terrorist. We are a sovereign country, and we have a right to know who is here. And that's why I support my president. He is taking serious this immigration platform. That's one of the many reasons why I voted for him. Now, I did not set out to film a political video. I am largely now, my politics are not reactionary because I live in a shitty neighborhood. I must be clear. I shouldn't have to explain that. However, the things that I am experiencing in this neighborhood reinforce the problems our nation has and my town has, and the reasons why I voted for our president is because his platforms are controlling immigration and enforcing the laws that we have, and certainly his platform also addressing the opioid epidemic. When I can't go out my door without seeing people peddle these poisons, when I can't sleep during normal hours, normal times, like nights when I'm not filming, I can't just sleep like a normal person without being treated to the sounds of screaming people fighting at 3 o'clock in the morning. This isn't just on weekend nights when people are coming back and forth from the clubs. This is 7 days a week, literally. you would not believe the shenanigans that go on in this neighborhood. And then other petty offenses like people letting their dogs defecate on the streets and not picking up after them. Whether it's near a church, whether it's near a social service agency, whether it's near people's homes, and then people leaving all kinds of litter and trash around. And then the people that live here, most of them don't bother recycling, and they throw out their cases of beer. And I am a hardcore recycler. I have my left wing points and my right wing points. I definitely veer more to the right, but there's a part of me that's kind of a hardcore environmentalist, and I will go out of my way to pick up the recycling and put them in the recycling receptacles. And I'm kind of religious about that because it's the right thing to do. And also, I don't want those cans and bottles blowing around making more noise. It's so disruptive. Do these people that are carrying around like lunatics even realize that there are people on all these floors above the storefronts? There are people's homes and people are sleeping. There are a lot of disabled people here. There are a lot of old people here. There are a lot of families just trying to raise their kids in peace, and the things that are going on here. And no matter how many times you call the cops, there's only so many cops, and of course they have to prioritize their calls. And things are really, really out of control. And even if I wanted to, me and my roommates, packing up is such a hassle, and then finding something that's affordable and is in a good location. Sometimes your place to live can kind of be in a good location because maybe it's near public transportation and maybe it's near certain landmarks, but it could still be in sketchy areas. And I swear we had no idea how ghetto this area was before we moved in, and it's just only getting worse. And while there is a little bit more of a police presence during the daytime, sometimes you see police walking the beat, which is kind of nice. But during the nighttime when you need it the most, I wish the police department had a substation right up the block, really. They would have, but then again, they'd have so much paperwork. Maybe they deliberately are avoiding this area, maybe because they know that they would be too busy busting people and doing a whole bunch of paperwork. And it's just a shame because this neighborhood is totally being destroyed. And this, I think, is partly going to be why President Trump is going to win in a landslide for his re-election, because people are realizing more than ever that we need somebody that believes in law and order. We need somebody who supports the police. We need somebody who gives backup to ICE, who will give the police departments the resources they need to fight crime. We need somebody that takes things seriously, that doesn't just want to raise taxes and put a band-aid on our problems and just make excuses for people's irresponsibility and bad behavior. I don't want somebody like that. I want somebody who is a business person and who gets the job done and who wants to make sure that we have the resources to clean up crime in inner cities so that people can get a good night's sleep and people can do their jobs in peace. And maybe YouTubers like me can film our videos in relative peace and quiet and not be hassled by people who have absolutely no respect and don't belong here in the first place. All right, that's what I have to say, and it's a miracle I wasn't interrupted by those idiots. So, if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you like me and my content, I'd like to have you subscribe. I make 3 new videos a week. It's not usually about politics, it's about whatever I feel like talking about. I'm probably overdue for a makeup tutorial, but there's more to life than just makeup, and sometimes things have to be said. And if I want to say them, I'm going to say them because I am an American citizen and I like that First Amendment. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.